It's Gordo here from Gordo's Games, and we're back for some more Digimon TCG today. So we're here today with PsychoFeather, who took one of the top cuts at the latest regional online. I believe I had him down a second, but I believe he ended up placing fourth, which he mentions during the video. So we're gonna get straight into that now. If you don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications so you know when that content goes live for you. And let's get into the profile. Okay, so here we are today. We're here with PsychoFeather. So with his Beelzemon deck, I'm going to just introduce him for you now, and we can take it from there. So first things first, Psycho Nathan, isn't it? So I'm instead of calling you a Psycho, it's just a little bit rude at this point. It is Nathan.
I'm not Nathan.
Why do I played a Beelzemon called Nathan? Oh, I'm sure it was. Okay, we're going to stick with Psycho. That's fine.
Psycho is fine.
I played so many Beelzemon players now. You've molded into one.
Oh, good.
So first of all, congratulations, taking second place at regionals. Only obviously come short against Blackwall Grey X, I believe. And as far as I'm aware, it was a BT11 Blackwall Grey. As far as I'm aware.
No BT12 cards. Nope.
Did they give you any idea as to why? Just out of curiosity.
I've not heard it myself, but I heard a friend of theirs basically say that she said, quote, "Why change a winning concept?" And then she just rocked with it, which is kind of cool.
I respect that. I respect that. I mean, yeah. It was a strong combo, definitely, and it was a surprise to see it. But let's go into your deck profile now, get an idea of what your deck looks like, because there is a lot of different variations for Beelzemon overall. Let's see what you've got for us. So the floor is yours.
I would argue that some of the cards are kind of standard, but I'm playing it for Yaman. I think this is just the better egg over Pokemon, mainly because this always threatens trash 2, while Pokemon only trashes 2 once. So the turn you push out, you're always going to get the trash 2 of this. And then if you don't deal with it, you get another trash 2 compared to Pokemon, which kind of forces your Digimon to die.
Yeah.
I know there's some cute combos where, like, if you have Balmon with Pokemon, you can gain some memory back, but I think that's too niche. So I would rather go for the consistency with Yaman. Next up, we have 4 of the EXO2 Impmons.
Of course.
This card is the reason the deck is absolutely nuts. The amount of times I also milled 2 of these from the same effect is just crazy. If this resolves, you kind of just like love your life. It's also kind of good to play out. It's probably your best play out target on the EXO2 Beelzemon mill, mainly because it searches Ayamako or your Blast Mode or X-Antibody BLC.
Yeah, it's only one that gets you any kind of initial impact as soon as it hits board. The rest just kind of sit there.
Yeah. Another point of contention I've seen is I'm running 4th starter deck Impon. People prefer to play 3 because it's like, people think it's a dead card until you get 20 trash. I would much rather see this in my opening hand, evolve it in the back, mainly because of the inheritable, where I can trash a card, or when I trash a card, I can delete a level 3. Super good in the mirror, super good versus any deck that want to play down a rookie to search. You get tempo by killing the rookie while still evoing above it. And also, because we are running 4 of the Impmon X-Antibody, evolving this in the back into this lets you draw 2 cards. Also makes the stack that you're building bigger, which means that when it dies, you get more cards in trash.
And if you trash anything, you get access to the whole Popper level 3 anyway, so it's always nice, regardless how it turns out, because you could Darkness Wave even if it impacts and then still trash and Popper level 3.
And then this card, I've seen people hate on this card. I don't know why. It's probably one of the best cards in the game. It lets you trash 2 unconditionally on attack, which is like just inheritable is why I would run it, but also the fact that you can cycle off all of your options on play or when digivolving. To get anything back, it lets you take essentially anything from your trash, add it back to your hand. Super good in conjunction with the EXO2 Beelzemon, since you place out an Impon, you evolve this for free. You get rid of an option that you don't want in hand, and you get back something you need.
Absolutely, it's a very strong card. I can't see why people would hate on it. And also the starter, I can't. you have to see it. Those kind of cards, you have to see them for consistency purposes. So it makes sense to me.
And then we're running a 13th rookie, mainly because I think 12 is too few. We always want to see, we're not sad seeing multiple rookies in our opening hand, so we're running one of the BT2 Impons. This is mainly here just because I think that this is the 4th best Impon. Some prefer the BT6 Impon since it kinda does what this card does, but you can play from the XO2 BLC. But I'd rather play this out than the BT6 Impon.
Yeah, and sometimes if you don't have those early mills and that, it just another way to filter through it. And plus it's the old, so I'm assuming that's like your one of, and you want to throw that one in there specifically, because that's what we all do as card players.
Yeah, and then moving on to level 4s, we're of course running 4 of the Wizardmon that when milled you gain 1 memory. There's a reason why we can cheat so much in with the deck because of all the memory gain, and that's why we're maxing out on the memory gain, of course. But the inheritable is also nothing to scoff at since it lets us place any card we want from our hand on top of our deck. And then in conjunction with even just the egg, we can mill whatever we want. So it's super good in that regard. It's there also versus stuff like Hunters where we kind of have to evolve in the back. We would rather evolve this than trash it. And then to go along with it, we're running 4 of the Wizard X. It mills 2 on Evo and also mills 2 on when attacking as inheritable. So it mills more than Witchmon, which I think is the most important part, even though it doesn't do it while evolving. And it also gains blocker if you evolve it on top of Wizard, which came up once where I had to dig for this card while barraging up a Wizard to evolve it on top to gain blocker to stop myself from dying.
Yeah, it's a very weird interaction to have, just the facility of getting blocker out of nowhere in purple. But yeah, it does.
And it's also a way to free cycle this in the back to draw a bunch of cards as well. Especially good versus Hunters where you kind of just want to set up in the back, get a big stack, swing, and don't place down anything else, so you don't get arrested Dramond. And then again, for consistency's sake, we're running one starter deck Witchmon. Trash is 3 on the evolve. It's okay. Inheritable gives 2k DP, which kinda goes against what you want in the deck, since you don't really want your Balmons to survive. But at the same time, it's sort of fine. I consider it being a hybrid, but I feel like hybrid was more niche in this card, and this card actually accelerated my game plan. So I might as well run this as a 1 copy.
Makes sense. I tried the hybrid myself, but it was always a case of why am I going to do this with a hybrid? I have a perfectly good deck that does it for me.
And then we're running 4 of the starter deck Balmon. Trash is 3 on evolve, and if you have 10 more cards in trash, you will play out on Beelzemon from your trash until the end of your opponent's turn. The fact that this gains the on deletion, even though you don't have 10 cards in trash at the point of evolving, makes this card insanely good. Especially since it counts its own stack when it dies to the total number of cards in trash. Which means that as long as you have swung once with the Balmon, you are able to play out a Beelzemon. And also, even if you don't mill a Beelzemon and this one survives, you just evolve a Beelzemon on top of it, and then you basically say to your opponent that either you're clearing my stack, and I'm just getting a free Beelzemon from trash, or my stack survives with all the when attacking inheritables with a Beelzemon on board. So they're stuck between like a rock and a hard place, and this card is just so good.
Yes, massively the strongest card for Beels that came with a star.
And then, but I would argue that this card is probably better in the mirror, and that's the BT10 Balmon. Mainly because this allows you to evolve in the back, but also it never loses its on deletion. So you can swing with this if it survives, or if it dies, good, you get the Beelzemon. If it doesn't die, well, your opponent can never clear this, since if they clear it, you will get the Beelzemon back. And then since it didn't clear it and it stands up, it lets you mill 3 more cards, and you can still play out a Beelzemon if this dies at that point, which makes it kind of better than the other Balmon, especially at least for the mirror. It also doesn't get punished by evolving in the back. which is good versus hunters, since we kind of just want to set up versus hunters and then like push out, swing with this one, and then try to OTK them from that point.
Makes sense. Makes sense. No other alternative level 5s you thought of? I know the Bauman X was a very skeptical one overall for most.
Yeah, I am on the train of no X antibody, mainly because I don't like the option. I feel like you're always gonna trash that. And then the Balmon, the fact that I have to evolve the Balmon to get the X anti option back, it just seems very clunky to me, along with very inconsistent. And I never felt it. I never had a game where like I needed the mill before I attacked. So even if I had those cards in my deck, and even if I just had X antibody in my hand, there wasn't a reason for me to ever use it. So I don't know. I think it's taking up valuable space in the deck, so I'd rather run this one.
That makes sense.
For level 6s, we're running 2 of the Beelzemon from EXO2. Before BT12, we would run 4 of this to always get our impons out. But now it's like a niche thing where it's like, oh, we get an impon out? Cool. It's mainly there actually versus hunters, where we get to pop a lot of things when evolving and attacking, make sure that they can't have a board. And yeah, and since there's not really any other good Beelzemons, we're kind of running 2 of this.
Yeah, but we played, I think last meta was definitely more of a control one. When you didn't have all the Beelz X anti, so you kind of had to keep the board stemmed a lot more. And again, and I guess with raid being a thing now, playing out more imps just kind of puts you in a bad situation, especially to get free free tamers or
But not just that, we kill so easily now from 4 securities, so after the bomb will swing once, we're already threatening lethal, which means that us playing out more impons doesn't really matter that much. But yeah, it's a good card. It vaults for 3, which is kind of nice. Yep. Outside of that, we're running 2 of the starter deck Beelzemon. This card is by far the most MVP card in the deck. It goes so well with Iron Mako. It gets you the security attack. It gains your memory. It's not just when it's an own evolution skill that gives it memory. It's whenever a card is trash once on all turns. Which came out once versus someone that didn't know that it was all turns. So it ended the turn quite early. This is the card that lets you OTK, mainly because it does 2 damage, 2 checks into the next card, which is 2 of the Beelzemon X antibody, which arguably is always going to trash at least 2 cards from the deck, or from their security.
Give me just 2 seconds, Psycho. I might just have a few technical difficulties here. Just 2 seconds.
Yep.
Sorry about that all. My audio seems to be dropping out there for myself. And we're back up and running, Psycho. Sorry about that.
All good. Where was I? Well, yeah, Beelzemon X, just like, it trashes security. It pretty much always trashes at minimum 2, which means that Beelzemon into this does technically 4 damage. And then if my opponent would delete this, well, I get an Impmon back. And it's not just any Impmon, and it's not just strictly Impmon, it's any Impmon or with Impmon in its name. So I could play out the Impmon X antibody, trash an option, and get something else back that I need. This card is insanely good. Even I understand that it didn't hit this card and instead went for the EXO2 Imp, because hitting this to 1 wouldn't matter because we have so many ways to getting it back.
And plus, you only need very minimal of that card. Technically, you could get away with a 1 of. Obviously, it'd be very risky because if it's in security, you know.
Yeah, the only reason we're running 2 is because 1 might get stuck in security.
Yeah, literally that.
But if you get 1 to resolve, you kind of just win the game. We have one last 6, which is the 1 copy of Beelstar. This card was kind of abandoned when we went into BT12. Even I abandoned it because I just thought that Beelz X was just way better. Well, this card is kind of nuts. The fact that you always get to play out an imp when you trash something means that security bombs don't hurt you as much if you hit it on the first attack from the Beelzemon. It also creates an interesting lock where if you have Beelstar and a Beelze out and they swing, they will lose memory and you will get an imp mana. So they're kind of forced to not attack you. This card helped me gain lethal in I think 3 matches where I otherwise wouldn't have gotten lethal. And it's not something that would have been solved by Blast Mode or a hybrid, because it made me able to go into a second Beelzemon for my trash. And also, hard playing this just for 5 isn't that bad. And or evoing this on top of a Balmon that still has the inherit, or its on deletion, is still very good.
Yeah, so I think Beelstar's a heavily underrated card, and most people want to get it down to that 1 cost value, which requires like 30, which is a little bit too late in the game. I think you are right. 5 is enough, because most decks now run a memory setter, right? I mean, majority matchups, so you might as well capitalize on it.
Yeah, and sometimes you just mill so much memory that you're gonna place this down and choke them at 1. So there's that as well. And then we're only playing 1 blast mode. If this gets stuck in security, we aren't that mad about it, and if it isn't stuck in security, we always have so many ways to get it back if it gets trashed. So I never felt the need of more than 1. I know some people like it, play that too, mainly because of the 1 milled effect. However, I feel like that's super non-consistent, where it's either not gonna pop anything, or they just don't have anything on board, or you don't have enough cards in trash to pop the thing that you want to pop with it. So I think 1 is more than enough. It does what it does, and it just lets you kill your opponent.
No, it makes sense to me. I think it's pretty consistent across the board. Most are literally just running the 1 of. You see the rogue 1 or 2 decks that run it as 2 off, but it's just too clunky, because if you see it early, it does nothing for you.
It has some cute applications where you can like put it back on top of your deck to delete something when it's milled, but I don't think it warrants the inclusion of a second copy. For Tamers, we're running the 4 Iron Mako. I've seen lists running 2 of this card, and I question what they're doing. This card lets you do everything you want with the deck. It's sort of a memory setter in a sense, since you always gain at least 1 memory. Most of the time you're getting 2 memory back from this, which means that you're never actually choked at 1. And it also lets you decide which card to put on top. So cards that you want milled are never stuck in your hand. It searches pretty much anything in your deck, which is also amazing. It lets you know what's at the bottom of your deck, so you know what you can mill and what you can't mill. The advantage of knowing, since we usually go to deck out, is that we get to know what our last cards are. We know if there are any memory gain down there, if there's any EXO2 Impmons, we get to know what our security is. The card is just super good, but I've seen the argument that it's bad versus Hunters, and while I agree it is bad versus Hunters, I don't think we should handicap ourselves versus literally any other matchup just because of Hunters.
I wholeheartedly agree. I'm a Black War Greymon player, and ironically, I'm told that I shouldn't play Tamers against that deck. I don't listen to that. I play Tamers immediately, followed by only if I have a Hades Force or Black War Grey in hand. If I have the answer in hand, then I'll do it. But I think people would put too much stock in the Hunter's whole bottom thing, because there's a lot of criteria they need to hit to get there. As long as you put yourself out of range, it's fine.
And then I've seen some people run the memory setter Iron Mako. I think playing a Tamer down for 4 that basically does nothing until the turn that you decide to go for blast mode just screams super slow, and since this deck usually kills you on turn 3, maybe 4, or like it kills you pretty much always on turn 4, but it can get away with killing on turn 3. I think playing the card that actually accelerates that, the amount of times I've been able to put back EXO2 Impmons, mill 3 from this is just so large. And then for options, we're running 4 Depth Slingers. Same reason with Wizard, we're playing the maximum amount of cards that gains us a memory when it's trashed. Also, it's super cheap to remove a Mega with this. It only costs 4 if you have 20 cards in trash, which means that pretty much nothing is safe. And then we're running not 3, but 4 Rivals Barrage.
MVP of the deck, really. The most consistent card going, right?
Yeah. And again, people are not wanting to play more than 2 copies of this card, or like maybe maximum 3, but I think playing the full 4 is what this deck needs. The fact that you're also not forced to place this into your battle area when it gets trash, you actually get to decide if you want it in your battle area or not, to like fix trash counts, Along with the fact that you want to mill your entire deck as fast as possible. And this card basically says, add a card from your deck to your hand. It's like we're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Even though we're playing Digimon, right? It's basically searches your entire deck for a card that you want, and you just get to add it to your hand. Super good. And it also uses another security bomb. Like right now we have 8 security bombs, but technically I'm running 10 security bombs because I'm running 2 7-fold clusters. This card, I again see people just run the one-off. I think that running 2 of this allows us to 1, not deck ourselves out. 2, it deals with Venusamon. And it also deals with Black or Greymons that decide to put up a bunch of protection. So if they do not have Yuya active, we can just pop 2 of these 7-fold clusters to get rid of the Black War and then maybe a Death Slinger. Or if they only have 1 layer of protection, we place both of our 7-fold clusters back, and well, the Black War's gone.
Yeah, because they revolve individually. So you trigger one, they have to remove, then you can trigger the second one. So it gets around the hold clause. There's no simultaneous pop, which is always nice.
And then also versus security control that tries to play Venusamon to stop us from getting the trash effect from the EX02 or BT12 Beelzemon X. We can use these before we use the trashing effect from Beelzemon to negate the downside, or to get around Venusamon's effect, right? So we resolve this one first, killing the Venusamon, and then we're still trashing the security.
Very nice. I mean, security control just cries when it sees a Beelz X, but just a kicker in the teeth just to get rid of the Venusamon, I'm okay with, because that Venusamon to me is an underrated card.
I agree. The card is probably still gonna see a lot of play, especially come BT14, right? When we get all the vaccine support. So that's gonna be scary to see what that card can do.
And that's all your options, right? No Mismembus, no Darkness Wave.
No just the 10 security bombs pretty much, and that's kind of what makes Beelze so good. We get away with running 10 security bombs in a very fast and aggressive deck. So we can't really get rushed back because we have so many things that just kills them on the crackback. I tried Mist, never really mattered, and also the card can get kind of awkward if we say we have 2 memory and we try to choke at 1 and then we mill a memory gain, then we have to do something else, and that usually passes more than 1 memory to them.
It does tend to happen like that. Yeah, it's an odd card.
And I never felt like I needed the extra 2 memory on my turn as with the delay effect either, because of the Iron Marker that just gives me pretty much all the memory I ever need. Yeah, the deck is super strong. I'm glad it's hit, even though I love the deck. I'm glad it's hit because this probably brings it more in line with other tier 1 decks. Because I'd argue that this is the closest we have gotten to a tier 0 format where it's either you're playing Beelze or you're pretty much at a disadvantage regardless.
Absolutely. You don't see yourself coming back to the deck now it's been a hit at all? Not going to attempt to try and build some up?
I'm still gonna play the deck. However, my favorite Digimon in the game is Black War and Wargrey, so maybe you can judge from my mat. So I'm probably gonna rock that for now. But I'm definitely gonna keep playing Beelzemon. It's a fun side deck. But for main events, you're probably gonna only catch me playing Black War from now.
I mean, I already am. It's beautiful, but I guess the fun part now is what were your matchups? And I know as one of them, I'm not salty at all. Don't worry. There's nothing but love here.
So it was actually kind of spread surprisingly. I expected a lot more mirrors and a lot more like coin flippy matchups because of all the mirrors and how those usually go. But my first 2 rounds were versus Beelzemon players. I won both. And then round 3, I played versus a Bloom Lord, which had a cute tech that caught me by surprise. However, they swung into security and died to a security bomb, and well, I won from there.
I was going to say, if they set up a Hydra, when I was testing it myself, it's problematic if they see 1 or 2 Hydras because you lose that Baumon whole pressure, right?
Yeah, no, so their Quartz swung into security, milled or trashed 2 of my security, I think, and then it hits the 3rd check was was a security bomb which killed the quartz, and then I just won because everything on my side could unsuspend.
Oh,
Round 4, I think you were my round 4 opponent.
I was. You were the start of
Yeah.
my decline.
Yeah, so we went 2-1, I think. You took a game.
Yeah, managed to take one. We had, I think, realistically, first one I was rather bricky. No, so I think the first one first one I took. I think second one, it was Battle of the High Rolls, and you clearly just out high rolled me. I mean, I turned 2, gone to Metal Grey, had all my pieces ready to do all the stuff I needed to do. You would turn 2 or 3, had milled 9 cards, gone up to Biel's, had a Biel's X in hand, a Blast Mode in hand. It was like GG. It's like, catch you later. I was like, I'm okay, we're done here. And then I think game 3 was, I had the wrong protections in stack, so I only had the Greymon X with only one save in it, so it cost me massively.
Yeah. And then my round 5 was a friend on Red Hybrid. The game was over in, I would say, like 8 minutes. I think it took us a total of I think it took me 6 or 7 turns to kill him. In total in our 2 games. It was quite unfun because I just super high rolled. I think I milled 2 EX02 imps from 1 Balmon, and well, I just won from there.
And that's just if you get those EX2 imps, the amount of momentum it gives you, it was the most logical hit to the deck.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then the finals, I faced another Black War where they had not put in any of the new BT12 cards. I won game 1 very convincingly, and then I lost game 2 due to me not counting the amount of cards I had left in my deck. So I had 1 too short to win game 2. And then game 3, I unfortunately kept a hand that I now in retrospective should not have kept. Because I thought it would solve itself, because I would see 3 more cards. However, those 3 cards were not anything that would actually solve my hand. So I just got slowly grinded out by... Well, in my opinion, she kind of bricked as well. So it was like a slow burn where I just drew cards and it was just not something I could use. So yeah, unfortunately I got knocked down to 4th by that, but...
you got knocked down to the 4th? I still thought you took... I thought you took 2nd in the end still. It actually bubbled you down.
Because 2nd place was undefeated but had a tie, but I went X1 technically since I lost the finals. And then there was some other guy that had better tiebreakers than me, so I got knocked down to 4th.
Well, I mean, all in all, it was still a very good showing, some very strong rounds. The deck clearly did what it needed to do. It was very unfortunate in the final round. Obviously, I know it was just triggers itself. But I mean, congratulations! A top 4 is a top 4 nonetheless. I don't think there was a prize difference between 2nd and 4th, right? Or was there?
No, I don't. Or well, yes, I think 2nd place gets the champion stamped set. But however, I still get my play set of the alt art, so I'm not complaining that much.
There you go. You still win at the end of the day. You profited from the event.
Correct. However, I'm probably gonna use most of those cards mainly because they are all decks that I enjoy playing. But maybe some of them will be sold. However, the Shaman King versions are probably gonna go straight into my Hunter's deck.
That is completely reasonable. But no, thank Psycho. Thank you for joining us on the channel today. Congratulations again for the top 4. Obviously, it was a pleasure to play against you on Sunday. We had a very close match, and obviously I know you're a friend of Libronium's. I'll drop his link to his YouTube in the description as well. We'll give him a nice little shout out. And I look forward to see you in the next event, hopefully. Or if you do get a chance to stop by at Gordo's Games, we'll see you there. I want a rematch, obviously.
Sounds good. Yeah, I hope to see you on, I think it's Sunday next week, right? In the Ultimate Cup.
Oh, okay. I haven't signed up for it, but I could well do that. You know what? Why not? Yeah, you might see me there. You might see me there.
Sounds good.
Last thing then, anybody you want to give a shout out for in regards to your win overall?
Well, I think I need to give a shout out because he's gonna kill me otherwise, and that's to Auron. that helped me figure out that yes, Beelstar is a good card. Uh, well, the 3 a.m. brewing kind of just made this card the card that we went for, and it massively paid off. I would have not have gone X1 if I didn't have Beelstar, and I think I would have lost like 3 or 4 games if Beelstar was another blast mode. So that's the one shout out.
Well, that's always good to hear. And Beelstar itself, a deck in itself that's still strong, and even that in the Beelstar deck is a nice, powerful tool. A heavily underrated card overall.
Yep.
And I think we'll probably see more of it going into the future, especially with the hit to Beelzemon. You probably see more of this as the tech side of it to get the deck moving along a little bit quicker.
Mm-hmm.
But no,
yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what people do with the ban.
Yeah, I did
what those 3 cards become.
Exactly. I did start looking at the list and that, obviously what kind of things, how you go about it. Do you go down more options, things to help you mill quicker, things like Darkness Wave or Miss Memboost? Do you opt for things like Beelstar? Do you emphasize more on BT10 Battle because you can't afford to bank on the starter Beelzemon doing what it needs to do because you've got less ways of potentially getting more mills? So a lot of things to take with it.
Yeah, and I guess we get the first showing in the Ultimate Cup, since that is where Impon is banned or limited to 1.
Yeah.
We'll see what people do there and see if the deck is still as oppressive as it currently, or well, I guess it's banned now, right? So see if it's as oppressive as it was a week ago.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's currently a regionals ongoing today, and I think Red Hybrids ended up taking that one. I think Red Hybrids were pretty much everywhere. So yeah, they ended up taking the top. I don't think there was much talk of Beelzemon, and this was for a regionals with the ban list in effect. So it just goes to show either people have lost faith or the decks just doesn't do what it needs to do at the moment.
Yeah, regardless, we're getting a meta shakeup, right? So that's always pleasant. Helps bridge the gap before the next set where we get some new toys to play with as well.
Exactly.
Keeps the game fresh.
And that's just how we like it. As I go, thank you for joining me today. Obviously, big shout out to yourself and the Swedish lads as well. And I will hopefully see you in the next Ultimate Cup going ahead.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
No problem at all.